When did your gut feeling of something's not right here save you? Story 1. I woke up at 3 a.m. once sitting upright in bed. I felt on alert and my heart raced when I saw that my cat was on alert too, wide awake by my feet with his ears perked up. But I didn't see or hear anything weird. Something didn't feel right, and I couldn't relax. So I got up and went to the kitchen, turned on some lights, and ate food even though I wasn't that hungry. Eventually went back to bed. We discovered the next morning that someone had stopped while in the process of using some kind of tool to silently cut a big hole in the glass window in the living room. They were trying to break in, right next to the bedroom. I think the lights I turned on scared them away. Story 2. I used to live in a smaller Minnesotan town, down near some train tracks and a bike/running path that extends out of town into the woods. One evening, I'm sitting outside on my porch drinking a couple of beers with my buddy. Two dudes walk up on us kind of out of nowhere, and immediately something seemed off with them. It's a college town, and drunk people come up onto your porch a lot, or randomly just say hello on their way to or from the bars downtown. But these dudes had a badass vibe to them. I had a little black Louisville Slugger lying next to me on the porch, so I grabbed and just held it across my lap. One dude asks us, "You guys had an extra smoke?" Buddy says nope. The other guy comes up real close, almost onto the porch, and says, "Did you see my face?" I just kept looking forward, but not directly at him, and just said, "Nah, man, we didn't see anything." He said something like, "Good, Lil," and they both walked away. 2 nights later, I'm sitting in my living room with the same buddy, and the local news is on. 2 guys arrested for robbing and stabbing a man a couple nights back on the trail down by the train tracks next to where I live. My buddy had looked at their faces coming up, and I had seen the dude clear as day that had asked for the smoke. It was those same guys. Story 3. I'm a firefighter. We got called out to a tree fire started by fallen power lines. We pull up in the truck, and I'm trusting that my driver and crew leader are doing their job and have good situational awareness. We get out of the truck, and we've parked next to a set of power lines, not fallen. It's a very windy night, and I can see the line swinging, so I voice my concerns to my crew leader, who says it'll be fine. We get our hose out, risk of the tree fire catching onto a house outweighing potential risk of arcing plus the line disconnected when it fell, and I'm on the branch ready to start putting it out with 2 others near me when I get a chill. I look up, see the line swinging violently, and yell, "Everyone, move!" As the 3 of us sprint and dive out of the way, we hear a thwip and crack, and sure enough, the line we were under came loose and stayed connected to the power pole. If I hadn't got that chill, chances I would have had 3 fried fireys. I was riding my motorcycle with a friend on the back. We were going down a country road behind a truck hauling a bunch of old car tires when all of a sudden I decided we shouldn't be there. So I slowed way down and let the truck go ahead of us. Just as I did, one of the tires fell off the truck and landed right where we would have been. Story 4. I was walking home. Wasn't late, and I'm from a pretty safe area, but it was that time of year when it starts to get dark really early, so felt kind of ominous. Anyway, I passed this guy in a red sweater and red tracksuit bottoms, and he looks at me funny. Maybe he's high, maybe he's drunk. Either way, something not quite right about him. I keep going. Look behind me. He's still there. Cross the road. He crosses with me. As soon as I turn a corner, I sprint to my apartment complex and run into the coded gate and wait. He rocks up a minute later and stares at me through the gate. He just stares at me for a good 10 or so seconds and runs back the way he came. Story 6. I had a friend who said we should go to this party. He was invited to by a classmate of his. We ended driving out to it. We noticed the neighborhood was not a pleasant and sketchy. We saw the house had some lights on in the backyard, but kind of quiet for a party. I decided that we should not go since something felt really off. Friend ended finding the classmate that invited him got robbed and threatened when he went to party. It ended up being a fake party. Story 7. I'm about 7, my neighbor's 8 and 9, and we're at a bus stop. Guy in stereotypical white van pulls up and asks if we've seen a dog. He doesn't describe the dog, and the truth is, dogs ran around in our neighborhood. My mother taught me stranger danger since as long as I can remember. So one of the boys at the stop, we'll call him Paul. Paul describes a dog, and man in van is like, "That's my dog. Why didn't you get inside the van? We can all go look for him." Well, I had red flags going off at this point and said, "No, I have to ask my mother." And as soon as those words left my mouth, he peeled out. It was only later that I realized I saved us all from child abduction. Specifically Paul, who was walking toward a van to get in. Story 8. Some dude get off the bus at the same stop as me. It's about 8 p.m. in October, so it's quite dark out already. He had spoken to me on the bus, one line about nice weather. Anyway, he gets off the bus after me. I cross the road and make a mental note of him walking the opposite way to me. I make sure to watch him walking away. Something in my gut says not to trust him. To get to my house, I have to walk up a hill with a path alongside a high stone wall. It is secluded. Usually I listen to music as I walk. I decide not to this time. I'm about halfway up when I get this awful feeling. I take out my phone, dial my mother's number, and as I do, I hear fast steps of someone running up behind me. I know it's a guy before I turn around, and as I do, he is literally running full speed towards me. I look him dead in the eyes, ready to fight for my life. As I do this, my mother answers her phone, and I say, "Hi, Mom." He slows right down to a light jog and says, "Evening," as he jogs past me. I ask my mom to stay on the line. Her BF comes out to meet me at the top of the hill. The guy is nowhere to be seen. He was definitely running up behind me to strike me, and by turning to face him, I'm certain it threw him off. Story 9. I worked as a shot girl at a pub. One night, I rejected someone who attempted to get my number. Not unusual, and he didn't seem that bothered. The whole exchange wasn't strange to me. In the early hours after the bar closed, I went to leave through the back door into the car park, like usual, when I saw the sensor light outside was on. Someone was stood just outside the door. I felt uneasy, so went out the front and asked one of the bouncers to walk me around the back to my car. As we rounded the corner, we spotted this guy lurking outside the door, holding his belt like a makeshift garrote. When he saw us, he started screaming that I was a fucking bitch and I should die. He scampered off into the road and never came back.